Hey, Full House fans, it's me, Dave Coulier. How you doing? I hope you're catching up with more episodes on our Full House Rewind. My guest on this week's episode is a very smart guy, and he played Michelle's friend Teddy on Full House. Yes, it's Tahj Mowry. We're going to be back soon with a lot more new episodes, and I want to thank you for watching the show on our Full House Rewind YouTube channel and listening wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be starting our new season with a whole new look for Full House Rewind. I can't wait for you to see it. Now, go out and buy a new outfit for school. Even if you're not going to school, you deserve it. Come on. All right, I'll see you soon.
This is a PodCo original.
We love when you follow us. It helps keep our show strong like a bull. Just go over to Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and hit that follow button. Look, we created a little follow button for you right there. That's right. Hit the button. I want to know what you remember being on the Full House set.
I feel like I remember more than people would assume.
We had some kids, you talk about your faith. We had some kids who were the devil. Now, your sisters.
Yes.
Who were there as kids too,
And even guest starred as Teddy's sister.
That's right. You worked with her on the Kim Possible.
I did.
We're both part of the Muppet family. Did you know that?
No.
Welcome to episode 16 of Full House Rewind. I'm your host, Dave Coulier. And our guest today, I've known since he was a kid actor on Full House. You may know him from his starring role in the TV series Smart Guy. As a voice actor on the Kim Possible animated series, he also starred in the TV series Baby Daddy and the Muppets Mayhem, which I can't wait to talk to him about. But you may also know him as Michelle Tanner's best friend, Teddy, on Full House. Please welcome Tahj Mowry.
What up, Dave?
Mowry. You say Mowry, I'll say Mowry. See, now I always heard your name when we were back in the day when we were doing Full House, when you were playing Teddy. Mm-hmm. I heard your name pronounced a couple of different ways. One was Maury and one was Mowry.
Yeah.
So
it's Maury.
But
all these years I just don't correct people, Dave. So you could say it how you want to say it.
But I want to say it the same way.
It's Maury.
And I know I have to say your sister's name coming up with a question.
Are you nervous?
In a couple of minutes. I am a little messed up about that. Thank you so much for joining us. We've known each other for so long. Yeah. And I need your help today because we're going to talk about Full House episode number 16. Also known as But Seriously, Folks. And episode 16 was directed by Joel Zwick. I don't know if you ever worked with
remember Joel. Yep.
And this episode aired on February 5th, 1988.
Oof.
So Tahj, can you, we've got it written down there for you. Can you give us the rundown of what happens in this episode? And then you and I are going to talk about it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So basically, Joey's comic debut in front of a talent scout is jinxed when a member of the audience, Phyllis Diller, takes over his spot in the lineup.
Ooh, Phyllis Diller, man. Phyllis Diller. I was a big fan of hers back in the day, and she guest starred, and I was just in awe, like, wow, I've been watching her my whole life.
And now she's here.
So what we're going to do is we're going to describe what's happening in the episode together. And I'm going to start us off. Feel free to jump in anytime.
Okay.
This is just kind of an open forum to talk about the show as we make our way through it. Okay. So episode 16 opens in the Pink Bunny room with Jesse, DJ, and Kimmy. Jesse is teaching DJ how to play guitar. The three of them launch into a rendition of Venus by the Shocking Blue. The song was later covered by Bananarama in 1986, by the way.
That's when I was born, Dave, 1986.
So, yeah. And
I was 2 when this episode came out.
A toddler in diapers.
Then Danny enters. He announces that tonight is Joey's big night. Joey does his Mr. Ed bit for Danny in the living room and tells him that there's going to be a talent scout from HBO who's looking for talented young comics for a big special.
Man, you read so differently than when you were 2.
Well, I sure hope so, Dave. Can you imagine?
Okay, back to the show. Jesse, Danny, DJ, and Steph go to the comedy nightclub to support Joey. Comedy magician Ed Alonzo is on stage, and Bruce Baum is the MC who announces that Joey Gladstone will be coming on stage soon, as the talent scout from HBO has already taken his seat in the room. Just as Bruce Baum is starting to intro Joey, we discover that famous comedian Phyllis Diller is also sitting in the audience.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bruce invites her on stage. Phyllis does an hour and a half of stand-up. That's actually happened to me many times. Joey finally goes on stage as much of the audience, and the talent scout leaves.
And then, well, this first part, Teddy would say it as the next morning.
Because
I couldn't say my R's then, but now I can, guys.
Often imitated by people back then, too. Yeah, and they loved it.
The next morning, the family goes to Joey's bedroom. Joey is dressed in a 3-piece business suit and announces that he's quitting comedy and entering the business world. He then covers his Charlie Chaplin poster with a poster of Lee I am not trying to say that one, Dave.
It's Tamara, right?
It's Tamara.
Jesse and Danny are in the living room with Michelle trying to find her a daycare center. They do a workout routine as Michelle watches while wearing her new sweatband, which was so cute. Joey enters and announces he's had 8 job offers and has turned them all down.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And we're back in the famous Pink Bunny room as Jesse continues his guitar lesson with DJ. DJ's frustrated. It's not going well. Then Jesse tells her a story about how he was inspired by Elvis.
Of course. We were all inspired by Elvis, right?
Of course.
Jesse and Danny decide that they're going to convince Joey to get back into the comedy business. They go back to the nightclub, and it's new talent night. Jesse jumps on stage and starts to do a really bad version of Joey's act. Well, Joey gets fired up and tells Jesse to stop killing his jokes. Joey realizes he's been tricked and quickly jumps on stage to do his stand-up act.
Back at the house, Jesse, Danny, and Joey are in the kitchen having coffee. The guys tell Joey that DJ has quit playing guitar. Joey heads up to the girls' room and gives DJ a pep talk. No one does pep talks like Full House. He convinces her to keep pursuing her interest in music. She picks up the guitar and launches into a song.
And wow, what an episode.
What an episode.
Man.
What was the Elvis poster in that room? There was an Elvis poster in there, wasn't there?
We might talk about that a little bit later when we do our game segment. I'm not sure, but we'll save that one.
Oh, shoot.
We're gonna keep it up to under wraps for now.
Okay.
You have not been kept under wraps. You are one busy actor, man. How's that for a segue, huh?
Oh, man, that was pretty good, Dave. I see why you have this show now, yeah.
You have been so busy, man. I'll tell you. And we haven't seen each other in a long time. But I'm so glad we're here and we can catch up a little bit. I remember, and everybody, we all remember when you played Teddy on Full House. My wife loved that character, and I think everybody did because you were Michelle's best friend. And I want to go back. We're going to go set the time machine and go back a ways. Yeah. I want to know what you remember being on the Full House set, because I remember you clearly and your family, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I remember. I feel like I remember more than people would assume. I remember certain sets more than others. I remember being excited when I could go up the stairs in the house because they were so big back then to me.
Oh, in the living room.
In the living room.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing back there, guys. And so as a kid, I'm like, this is so cool. You know what I mean? It's like explorer time.
Yeah.
And then how the stairs would continue in the hallway set where the bedrooms were. I just, from a young age, sets always like, they were just so cool to me. It was like a place to explore the, the fact that they look so real, but they're fake. I just loved that.
I don't think I ever figured out how the steps all connected.
How they all connected?
Yeah, because we had them in the kitchen.
That's right.
We had them outside where the bedrooms were, where the girls' rooms were, and Jesse's rooms. Then we had my room in the basement. They
Right.
went down there. And then we had them going up in the living room and the kitchen, up and down in
right.
the kitchen. Yeah, and
Lot
I
of
remember
steps.
if you had a lot of people coming into the room, you'd all be huddled up there, and they'd go, "We see your leg,
Yeah.
we see your foot." And you'd scooch in some more. You'd
The
be up
cue
there.
lights, you know.
And if you got a case of the giggles or something funny
man.
happened, you were dead sitting up there.
I remember you keeping us giggling with your voices. I remember that. You were always good with us with that.
I was always cutting up, and
You were
I loved making the kids laugh.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big kid, and I would do something silly. Those kitchen stairs, by the way, I broke 2 toes goofing around on those one time. We had
Really?
a scene. Yeah, we had a scene. It was during the audience shoot, and I was making a joke, and I was backpedaling down the steps talking to the studio audience, and I tripped and I fell down, and I went. Everybody's like, "You okay?" And you hear my voice go, "Nope, I think I broke a couple toes." So,
Look at that. Of course, you made a bit out of it, Dave. I'm
broke
sure
it-
the audience
broke a
loved it
couple toes.
anyway.
And I think I said, "I think you better call a tow truck." It was some stupid
This is
joke.
why, people.
But
This is why.
so you do remember stuff
I remember
about
quite
the
a bit.
show.
I remember
Because you were how old?
Oh my gosh.
5, 6?
Yeah, I think it was from 5 to 8.
5 to 8.
5
Okay,
to 7,
yeah.
5 to 8.
Yeah.
I remember the school room, which was always fun, and I also remember you guys coming to visit sometimes in the school room.
We did. We did.
And it was always fun because when some episodes it was just me and Michelle, and then some episodes we had Journey, we had Miko. So those days I remember
classroom scenes,
the
yeah,
click.
yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
sure, yeah.
And I remember those days being the most fun because you'd have 5 kids in the schoolroom and
Oh,
we're all
yeah.
cutting up during class.
And you guys had to go to class.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was that like? It was always a different experience for every kid
Mm-hmm.
actor that I talked to about what was school like. I always found that so interesting that you had to be a professional.
Yeah.
You had to go to school, and you had to. I always wanted to know, how did your grades translate to regular school?
Yeah, I think for me it helped because my parents were very, shout out to mom and dad, they were very particular about when I wasn't on set sending me back to normal school.
Yeah.
So I had both a tutor situation on set and then I had regular school, public school. So it's also all I knew. Like I was
Yeah.
getting tutored at such a young age because I started so young.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't like a thing, or it wasn't like difficult for me. It was fun. You got to go to your school and get the work for that week and, bring it back. And it was all I knew, Dave.
Yeah.
It's like,
And I remember your family being on set.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that because your sisters were there, your mom was there.
Yeah.
You guys were there a lot when you were there. And it always seemed to me like all of you kids were very grounded, and which is always a sign of great parents.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your parents kept you that grounded because that doesn't just happen.
Right.
That comes with some great parents.
Yeah.
So am I right?
you were, thank you. Yes, you are
Yeah.
right. And I think it's a lot of things. Number one, it's our faith. We grew up in church, and to me till this day, Jesus is important to me. And from that, we learned at a very young age to respect our elders, to appreciate this cool job that we're getting to do.
Yeah.
And also they taught us at a young age to separate it. When you're at work, this is work. You're a kid, but this is work. This isn't, where your identity lies.
Sure.
This
Yeah.
isn't who
So
you
smart.
are.
So smart.
This is just a fun hobby that you get to
Yeah.
do as work, as a job.
And there's a paycheck too. At
And
the
you get a
end of
little
it. You
paycheck
get a
as well.
Pay for that college tuition.
And they were
you know?
also in the military as well. So,
Yeah. One of your parents is from Hawaii?
I was born in Hawaii.
You were born in Hawaii.
They were both stationed in Hawaii. So that's how. And then
Okay.
my sisters were born in Germany because they were stationed in Germany at the time. And then we have a
Okay.
younger brother who was born on a base in California. So, yeah.
That is, well, because we had some kids, you talk about your faith. We had some kids who were the devil that were guest stars.
You're saying the literal spawn?
Yes. Yes, there were some kids where
Oh, man.
and you could tell there was a big difference. There was a huge difference because you guys were polite.
Yeah.
You were respectful of other
Yeah.
people's spaces. You knew when to like chill on the set, and that's that. You don't just that's taught to you.
Yes.
Respect is taught
Yes.
to you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So when I knew you were coming on, I thought back to those days and I thought, those were really polite kids.
Aw.
That was my takeaway.
I love that. I will be telling my parents that
so
after
good
today.
on
Yes.
them. Good
Yes.
on them.
Thank you,
Now,
Dave.
your sisters,
Yes.
who were there as kids too,
And even guest starred as Teddy's sister.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah. So I say
Yeah,
when your
man.
family was there,
Yeah.
you guys were all there. They also had a very successful series,
Yeah,
Sister, a big show. How much did you learn from them, if anything at all? Because you started so young. So
Yeah, I think we were constantly learning from each other because we all kind of started at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just a nonstop cycle of learning from each other. And again, it's like, it's all we knew, especially since I was younger than, they're 8 years older than me. So like, yeah, it's all we knew, but getting to see the other in their environment and then them coming to see me in my environment, it was kind of just like a melting pot of
So
of
they
learning.
were already working, by the time.
Yeah, so basically first it was commercials, right? So like I was doing a bunch of commercials.
Yeah, you were the perfect commercial.
I
kid.
was just like, I think at one point I had done like 5 McDonald's commercials and then they like wouldn't let me audition anymore because they're like, you're good, kid. All right, let's give the other kids. I'm like, all right, dang. Like, so yeah, and then my sisters were doing a lot of pageants in their younger days. We lived in Texas for a bit before we moved to California.
That is like pageant central.
Yeah, oh yeah. And before it was what it is now, it was it was very different.
The reality shows.
Yeah, it
about
was way more innocent and not as toxic as it is now. Yeah, so we grew up in it. But yeah, we were all doing our own sort of thing. But they had got Sister, I believe, after Full House,
right?
And then before I got Smart Guy,
right?
Right. And then I went to do their show a few times. They went to do Smart Guy a few times. So it's always been like that, Yeah,
and I want to talk about the pressures because you have to be professional.
Yeah.
You got to be professional on those sets. There's 100 people around you expecting you to hit your mark, hit your line, get the laugh, and we're moving on, So it is a pressure cooker. And I would sometimes really feel for the kids, and I felt very concerned because our Full House kids, I felt like an uncle to those kids. And we were always very protective, especially me, John, and Bob, Lori. We really watched out for our kids, and you were part of our family. And I always thought, that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. And, your parents navigated that so well for you, but not every kid gets that. And when I said we had little devil kids, a lot of times it got a little out of control. And that pressure, I think, could kind of supersede what was really supposed to happen.
Yeah, and I think it's why I'm so thankful for my parents and the household that I was brought up in, because it wasn't toxic. It was very respectful. And again, we were able to separate it. And, as a kid, I knew that I was at work. Like, this is my job. Like, I don't want to mess up, you know, like and they were also very good at like, hey, let's practice. But it wasn't anything that they were making us do.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why I still do it to this day, because I always loved acting.
Right.
And still do. So I wanted to practice. I wanted to know my lines. So I think a family dynamic is the most important of a child actor sort of
absolutely
becoming normal after it.
Yeah. And you guys all you made it through.
Yeah, man.
You made
Yeah.
it through
Yeah.
as normal as we can be.
as
you
normal
know?
as an actor
Right,
can be.
Right. So Smart Guy was a very successful show.
Yeah.
Was it a WB show?
It was a WB show.
It was WB.
Yes,
Okay,
it
right.
was a WB during the time of like Wayne's Brothers, Jamie Foxx show,
Right.
that sort of.
There were some cool shows
Buffy the
back then.
Vampire Slayer, that era. And then when we finished, it was always a Buena Vista television show, aka Disney.
Right.
So that's why it went to Disney Channel
Yeah.
after, and then that's why my transition to Disney Channel as a teenager was easier, I guess.
Yeah.
It made more sense because Smart Guy was already.
Now, I want to
playing.
talk to you. We talked about just the normal pressures that exist,
Yeah.
with kids in Hollywood, TV, and movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got what I would consider a lot of pressure. You're
Mm.
starring in your own series, Smart Guy.
Yeah.
You're carrying the show.
Yeah.
That's a big workload.
Yeah.
Because when, on Full House, we would carry an episode, but we're not carrying the whole series.
Right.
That series was on your back. What was that like? Did you feel that, or were you still just, I'm having fun, this is a great show, and, my folks are keeping me centered?
I never felt it because, again, I was also in sports. So like when I left,
What did you play?
Oh, I played. I ran track, did karate for a bit. Was also in dance, tap dance. Football was my main sport.
Yeah.
And during high school, I actually took a break from acting for a bit and got a football scholarship and did that for a year, and then I miss acting, so came back. But yeah, I didn't feel that pressure. Sometimes there was pressure when I would hear conversations of like ratings. But again, the work environment that my parents made sure the set was didn't allow for drama or stress or anxiety. It was just fun. And again, I wanted my own show. So when I'm there, I'm like, hey, I'm here. I gotta perform.
Yeah.
And actually in the meeting to get Smart Guy, because that show was created, and I went into the meeting and I had a fake cell phone, like a toy.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the meeting, I had it ring. And I answered it and was like, hold on, guys. And this is like a bunch of big wigs at a table.
That's a
and
great
I'm
bit.
like, hold on, guys. And I'm like, I'm in a meeting right now. Let me call you back. So I was always like a ham.
Oh, you were in character.
Yeah, so
He's the
it
smart
wasn't,
guy in
I
the
wasn't
room.
like, oh my God, I gotta carry the show. I was like, yeah, I gotta carry the show. It's cool.
I'll guarantee you, when you pulled that bit off, everybody just looked at each other and went, "This is our guy.
This is the guy.
This is the kid.
Yeah.
This is the kid.
Yeah,
no one
man.
else
Yeah.
is going to do that." Oh, I love that story. Now, Christy Carlson Romano is, she's part of our PodCo family.
She's so good at it, man.
And she's so lovely. Her husband is one of our partners here.
Oh, sick.
Yes, Brendan Rooney. So it's kind of all in the
Yeah,
family
man.
here, how this all works out and glues together. She's been on our show here,
Such a
and you
delight.
guys. She is. Yeah, I just think the world of her.
Yeah.
You worked with her on the Kim Possible
I did.
animated series, and I want to ask you. I've been on a few animated series in my illustrious career.
You could have your own animated series, Dave, and play every character if you wanted to.
Well, I'm still waiting.
Call him up, people. Come on.
Still waiting. Hey, animation, president of animation. Can you put that together? I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Even Tahj said it, for crying out loud.
Come on, man.
So, what's the challenge for you? When you're doing animation, it's kind of a different head for me than it is a different headspace than when you're, live action.
Yeah.
How is it for you?
For it is completely different, and for me, I have to be mindful of. I'm a very expressive person, so I could. I can do with my face what maybe my voice isn't giving off when I'm on camera. I can like make it a whole package deal. But with voiceover, it's all voice.
Yeah.
So, early on I had to realize like, you have to learn how to bring that emotion only in your voice.
Yeah.
But I love voiceover work. I love doing animation. I also love the schedule of doing animation. That was during high school when I had taken a break from acting, Kim Possible was the only thing I was doing because it didn't
A lot of
command
episodes
a lot of
too, right? Like
yeah,
80
we did
something.
We did a lot. I think I was doing that show, something to do with that show for 5-6 years, because at one point we had a not a ride, but sort of an adventure walkthrough at Disney World.
Yeah.
And I remember the script was like this thick, and my character was the tech guy. So I couldn't even tell you how many hours that ride took, but it was so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, about probably 5 years of my life doing Kim Possible, but I loved it. And I think a couple times we were able to, maybe just one, like, because when you do animation, you're not always in the same room with your castmates.
Right.
So I think maybe once or twice we were able to do it with, me, Christy, Will. But most of the time you're just in there. You're in there, with the producers and everything. But you can show up in your PJs if you want, which is great.
Which I did. I would be in my underpants most of the time for those animation tapings. What I love about animation is sometimes when you're on an outrageous series, you walk in and sometimes you don't know the character you're going to do. You're like, you're the talking socks, you're the cow that flies backwards, and you're the spoons that hate each other. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Like, spoons hate each other?
That's a great show. The spoons that hate each other.
Spoons that hate each other.
That's the show, Dave.
Next.
That's the show.
That's okay. Hey, president of animation. Okay, spoons that hate each other. Although hate is a pretty strong word.
Right, yeah.
Spoons that dislike each other. Okay, that's right. We're going to be a little nicer to each other. Well, we're both part of the Muppet family. Did you know that?
No.
I was on the Muppet Babies on CBS. I played Animal, Bunsen Honeydew, the two old men in the balcony, Waldorf and Statler, and Bean Bunny. You didn't know that?
They're my favorite, by the way.
Yeah. You know what the best part about this show is?
No, what's that?
It ends.
Dave, I loved playing those characters.
My day is made from that. Man. Thank you, Dave.
Waldorf and Statler, those guys they always got the zingers.
I got to see their the puppets of them on set because they were in our last episode of Muppets Mayhem. They had a little cameo, and I remember reading the script going, yes.
And you got to mine was all animated, Muppet Babies. Yours, you got to work with the actual puppets, and the stage is like built up, right?
Yeah, they're elevated
because the people are down.
Yeah, it was.
Tell us about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so talk about. I don't think I've ever experienced like a first day of work that was as overwhelming as working on a live action Muppet show. You're elevated 4 feet off the ground. There's monitors everywhere because the Muppet performers have to see what they're doing.
Yep.
You have to make sure you don't get lost because you're so enamored at watching them do their work.
Yeah.
Because they're recording their lines at the same, like they're mic'd.
Right.
They're not doing their lines separately in a studio later on. They're doing the whole performance there, the movement, the eye lines. They're telling the camera, no, that's not the right spot. Can you move here? We got to move this monitor. Like it's a whole
production. Different type of talent those people have. Yeah.
They have their own masseuse on set because their arm is like this. I was like, oh, we got a masseuse on set?
That's
like,
all I have to do
just for the Muppet performers. So I'm like, all right, bet.
Hey, my arm is up. Do we have somebody? My arm's been up for quite a while now. Okay.
It is such a different beast.
You could trip and fall, couldn't you? Like you're on these little walkways, right?
You know, they kept us very safe, of course.
Parachutes.
But the parachutes.
Yeah.
We're all in harnesses. All the ends of the cliffs, as I like to call them, are marked with very bright tape.
Right.
But I remember, I think it was my second day. I had to do a scene where I'm sprinting into the set that was called the Shack, and I have to sprint and stop where the floor ends. But I can't like look down, like, you know what I mean? I gotta be in the scene. And I remember being like, we're here. This is it. This is it. But yeah, it was overwhelming, but actually quite rewarding because you jump into it so quickly.
Yeah.
But again, I'd say also one of the harder things to get used to was eye lines because we're talking, I'm looking
Right.
at where your voice is coming from.
Yeah.
But if you're a puppet and the Muppet performer's down there, my brain wants to look
Right.
where the voice is coming
Right.
from, but I can't do that.
Right.
I have to look up. So that was, I think the first couple days
That's a big
I had to be
adjustment.
like,
Yeah.
okay. And then being able to see yourself on a monitor, like, cause you know, when you're normally shooting something, whether it's, you know, multicam or single cam, you don't see yourself in real
Right.
time. You got to go
Yeah.
and watch the playback or like see the monitor, you know, but here you're right here. So, you know, you're okay. No, I can't worry about that. Got to be in the seat. You know what I mean? So it's different and it takes a very long time, Dave. Every setup is basically a visual effect shot.
Man,
So
yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But was the most fun I've ever had on a set.
Can you play a little game with me here?
Sure.
All right. Okay. So on episode
man.
16,
I'm kind of nervous.
I'm telling you what, no matter what happens, you're going to win something.
Really?
You win a prize. Yes. So you it's almost like you
That
can't
excitement
lose.
was genuine too.
It's almost like you cannot lose. Okay.
All right, bet.
So on episode 16, we have a joke where Joey hangs a poster of Lee Iacocca
Hey.
in his bedroom. Of course, Lee Iacocca was a big car executive with Chrysler and Ford. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you pictures of famous vehicles and see if you can name all of them. Okay. So no matter what happens, though, you're going to win a prize.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You ready? Here goes. Here's the first one. Okay. See if you can name this.
Oh my God.
Lee Iacocca was an executive at Chrysler
Chrysler.
and Ford.
I was gonna say maybe it's a Ford vehicle. I don't know.
Yes, you
Okay.
are right.
Okay.
You-
Do I have to say like
you
the
are-
model?
Yeah, it's the model.
The Model A. The Model 1. The Model Ford.
It's another letter in the alphabet.
The Model T.
The Model T. See, I
I knew I had that
I
one.
just
It
knew.
was up there.
Okay. All right. We're gonna just keep going. I'm gonna show you this one. This is the
Oh, come on, baby. That's the Batmobile.
Batmobile. Ding, ding,
That's
ding, ding.
my
ding,
favorite.
ding,
That's my
ding,
favorite
ding.
superhero. And if you
Okay.
say Batman's not a superhero, we'll have some discussion.
Yes, we
But-
will. Yes, we will. I will leap over a building in a single bound. Okay, here we go. Now this one.
Oh, that's the Ghostbusters car.
Yes,
I-
you're right. Do you remember the name of it? What they called it? It had something to do with ectoplasm.
oh my gosh. No, I
The
can't.
ecto.
Mobile? Ecto 1.
The ecto one.
Ecto 1. Look at that.
Got to wake up pretty early in the morning to put one past Tahj Mowry.
Hey!
Okay, here we go.
That's the infamous. That's the vehicle that the amazing Muppet Mayhem Band drives in.
Wait, hold on. Are you
What?
sure?
Is that not it?
Are you sure?
Oh wait, no.
Is the light?
That's the
can we get-
Scooby Doo. That's the Scooby Doo van.
Ding, ding,
They
ding,
look
ding,
very
ding.
similar,
It's
guys.
The mystery machine.
The Mystery Machine.
Mystery machine, but
They look similar.
You could fit a lot of Muppets in
I
that.
also don't have my
Let's-
glasses on, Dave. So
What? Can we, in the pre-interview, please check with Mr. Mowry,
I
please?
would have worn them, but
Yes.
they didn't really go with the fit. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
man,
So I
okay.
couldn't really.
Okay.
You gotta sacrifice
Yeah, but
your
you're-
vision every now.
But you're on a roll. You're
Okay,
like at
thank you.
Okay, remember this one.
Is
Full
that
House?
like? Is that?
Full House. It's the
Why don't I-
patriarch of Full House. would
I don't
be-
even remember that. I don't. That's
You
sad,
probably weren't
right?
there for that episode.
That's kind of sad that I don't
This
remember
is
that.
Danny's car.
Oh,
Danny
yeah.
Tanner's car Bullet. That was a tough
Yeah,
one.
no, I don't
That's
even.
that's not an easy one. I think I showed you the next one. Here we go. Okay. Okay.
I saw that one.
Okay. Okay.
It's the Shaggin' Wagon.
Yes. It's the Mutt Cuts
Oh,
van
man, from Dumb and Dumber.
From Dumb and Dumber. Jeff Daniels, my doppelganger.
Oh my gosh!
Okay,
Oh, I
there
kind
we
of see
go.
it.
Right? You kind of
Oh
see it.
wow!
People come up to me all the time, and Jeff and I are friends. We're both.
Are
from
you
Michigan.
really?
Yes. So people come up to me all the time and go, "Hey, are you dumb or dumber?" And he goes, "If one more person comes up to me and does that stupid cut it thing that you do.
So you both get like
Yes, each other. Yes. And I said we should do a movie called Twin Sons of Different Mothers.
Please do that.
You know? Okay, here's another vehicle. Ready?
Oh, that's Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman.
That's his.
La, 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 la.
I grew up watching Pee Wee's Playhouse.
That was the best show.
It was the best show ever.
Okay, final one.
Oh,
Here
man.
we go. Has everything to do with a car company name.
Oh, like Kiki Palmer. I'm sorry to that man. Who is that?
You got to bring your glasses if you come back.
Okay.
Okay.
It's the president.
It is. Has everything to do with a car company.
Ford.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Gerald Ford.
Gerald Ford.
Who
Okay.
probably fell
When
out
was
of a
he
car
president?
at one point. 70s.
Okay, Dave.
Yes.
Come
Gerald
on.
Ford in the 70s. But he is a president. Of
I
course.
knew that part.
Tahj, everybody, like I said, everybody's a winner. You are not going home empty-handed. You are
I did
going
okay,
home-
right, Dave?
You did amazingly well. You get a cut-it-out hat.
Yes.
You get a cut-it-out T-shirt.
Oh, come on.
And of course, here's a little card from personalized from me.
Oh,
Those are
Dave.
you're not going away empty-handed. You are not. But there is one more thing we get to do.
Thank you.
Every Full House episode had a very touching, heartfelt scene.
Oh my gosh.
So we've cut out a little scene. This episode, this segment is called "Aw, Cut It Out."
Cut it out.
This is a scene where I'm going to be playing the roles of Joey and Stephanie, and you're going to be playing DJ.
I'm so very excited. I'm honored.
Okay, here
Let me
we
get
go.
in character real
All
quick.
right, ready?
Okay.
You in character?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Joey says, "Well, DJ, guess what? I got back up on stage tonight. I did my stand-up, and I was great."
But I thought you quit.
Well, I did, but I think I was just frustrated and looking for the easy way out.
Oh, I get it. Jesse told you I quit the guitar, and now you're here to talk me out of it.
So I guess I can skip the tortoise and the hare story.
I'd appreciate it. I didn't quit just because of you. Quit because I stink.
DJ, how do you know you stink? You've only been playing a week. But you know what? If you keep practicing, you might get really good at it. But if you quit now, you may never know. Stephanie suddenly wakes up. He's right, DJ. Oops.
What are you doing up?
Stephanie pretends she's still sleeping. I'm not up. I'm talking in my sleep. DJ, one more thing. Giving up isn't your style. You put the bracelets together. I mean, you picked the name of the group. DJ, you get things done. The DJ I know wouldn't give up just because it's the easy way out. Joey kisses DJ on the forehead. I'm not going to do that.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right. Good night, girls.
Is that you? I think that's your line.
Oh, good night, Joe. I didn't pass the audition.
We'll call you. We'll call you.
I need a phone where you can call me during the middle of the audition so I can get it. Call me Joey. Really? You're Joey again?
That's correct, my little friend. So, nighty night night.
Joey exits, and the scene ends, and what a tearjerker, isn't it?
I am seeing you do that again. Oh, man. Dave.
Tahj, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome back anytime. I would love to have you back on the show. Let's give it up for Tahj Mowry, ladies and gentlemen. I said it correctly.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor.
Well, here's some of my observations about episode 16. As I was watching this episode for the very first time, so many memories came back about stand-up comedy. I got to do little bits and pieces of my stand-up act in this episode. I also got to meet legendary comedian Phyllis Diller. Now, Phyllis Diller was a comedy pioneer, being one of the first female stand-ups to be on national television. She was first discovered on the Groucho Marx game show, You Bet Your Life. Phyllis Diller could not have been nicer when she guest starred on Full House. What a career she had. Just incredible. My good friend Bruce Baum was also a guest star on episode 16. Now, I met Bruce in the early 80s when I was a teenage stand-up comic in Detroit. Well, Bruce was already a huge TV star from his appearances on the comedy game show Make Me Laugh, where he created this hysterical character, Baby Man. Well, Bruce was a prop comic. He had outrageous props, and I'll never forget one time when he and I drove from Los Angeles to Detroit together in his small truck that was filled with props for a gig. Okay, so we had a day and a half to make the drive as Bruce was scheduled to be on radio and TV to promote his stand-up shows at the Comedy Castle in Detroit, my home club. We were driving through Texas, and a Texas state trooper pulled us over for speeding. So Bruce tells the officer that we were comedians on our way to Detroit to do some shows, and we were speeding so we could make it there on time. So the trooper took a good look at both of us, and then he made Bruce open the back of his truck. So you got to picture this. The truck was loaded with Bruce's crazy props that he was going to use for his shows. We're talking blow-up dolls, propellers, drums, guitars, crazy hats, cookies, cartons of milk, and puppets. So the trooper looked at Bruce in disbelief, and then he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, if you can make me laugh, I'll let you go." So Bruce does 5 minutes of stand-up, makes the officer laugh, and we drive away. We made it to Detroit with just 30 minutes before the first radio interview started. So it kind of got me thinking about how the comedy world is full of dreamers. You're putting yourself out there night after night, hoping you get noticed. You're very vulnerable up there on stage alone. And I think that's how it must be for a lot of dreamers, because to put yourself up there like that, to potentially get hurt, it takes a pretty big dream to put yourself through that. Now, when Joey covers up his Charlie Chaplin poster in the episode, he covers it up with a picture of Lee Iacocca. Now, Lee Iacocca was an automotive executive responsible for the development of the Mustang while he was at the Ford Motor Company. He would later become the CEO of the Chrysler Corporation, and he used a federal loan to bail the company out in what experts called one of the most brilliant turnarounds in business history with the launch of the minivan. That's right, you have Lee Iacocca to thank for the most popular vehicle of choice for soccer moms. That all happened 8 years before Full House hit the airwaves and was still pretty fresh to many viewers. Now, the scene in the living room with Danny and Jesse doing a workout routine with Michelle is absolutely hysterical. It is by far the funniest scene in this episode. Some great memories for me and some stories about the show that I get to share with all of you for the very first time. We would love to hear your thoughts about Full House. Tell us about your favorite episode or just why you love the show so darn much. Or maybe you got a question for me. Send us an email with the link at socials@podco.us. We close every episode of Full House Rewind by giving all of you who need it a hug. This week, our hug goes out to all the dreamers out there. Keep going, keep dreaming, keep putting yourself out there. Me and our guest today, Tahj Mowry, we were just dreamers. So don't let anybody ever tell you you can't pursue your dream or, hey, that's silly. It's your dream, not anybody else's. And you know what? I'm rooting for you. So for all of you who are dreamers, here's your Full House hug from me. Come on, bring it in. There we go. That's our show. We'd like to thank our special guest, Tahj Mowry, for stopping by. And join us next time here on Full House Rewind. And you can watch all of our episodes on our Full House Rewind YouTube channel. That's easy for me to say. So long. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Full House Rewind. We'll see you next week.